second podcast.
Number two,
different scenery like we promised. Thank you for viewing and subscribing after our
Subscribe,
first
please.
I'm impressed we did it a second week in a row.
Yeah, hour long, and some people watched the whole thing, which is pretty exciting.
My
this
dad
is
did.
Going to be an hour long. I'm setting a timer now. Do you guys want to kick it off into what this week's topic is and why we're sitting over here?
This week we're going to talk about heat acclimation and heat stress training, which is a unique service that we provide here. So I think we'll go into a little bit about why it's necessary for the athletes that we train, some of the research and stuff behind what we're doing and why we're doing it, and just going into the benefits for general population for all athletes out there. So you want to kick off a little bit, Brian?
Sure. When we set out, designing this facility, we're looking at three main categories: motorsport, tactical, and then ultra endurance and triathletes. And for any three of those categories, they all experience environments that are less than ideal for physical fitness and function. So having that heat stress environment available for people like a driver who's exposed to temperatures in excess of 130 degrees with full gear on, or the tactical athlete that may be in boot camp or training in hot climates, and then also the ultra endurance athlete who may be in Hawaii or in Death Valley doing a longer 12, 24-hour race under extreme conditions. So,
Just goes across the board with a lot of things.
across the board, exactly.
And I think when we started researching this 2 years ago and thinking about putting something in there, I think a lot of the cool stuff out there was with more of altitude training and getting effects from that. But then there was just more and more research coming up about the benefits of just being in the heat. And I know that there's thoughts out there already and different things with Bikram yoga and people doing stuff in the heat like that. So as we kind of delved into it a little bit more and started seeing the benefits that it could have for the endurance population, it just became almost a no-brainer to put something like that.
I think the research we were seeing where you can get significant acclimation, heart rate, blood pressure to those environments, and then let's say you're not even doing a race in those environments, but just training in that heat. That hot of an environment, and then coming back to whatever you're going to be doing in quote unquote normal temperature, you're that much more acclimated now just to handle even that. So as your core temperature and things start to rise, cognitive function remains. You're cutting down on cramping, muscle fatigue. All of that has been drastically reduced. And again, it's not anecdotal, and people do feel the difference. I mean, especially after training here, but everything we do here is so research driven that we have plenty of studies that support the usage of this. So I think that was a big component also of what we were trying to, as a whole in the facility, is try to keep that research minded, evidence-based practice with Four3. And then I think the heat acclimation was just some cool thing that this would be awesome if we could find a way to recreate this type of environment. We're planning to go ahead, like we were talking before, with some involving humidity and some of that as well, which I think would be pretty interesting to play around with. If anybody has other experiences where they've trained in, a temperature-controlled room with humidity or anything like that, comment below. Let us know about it. We're always trying to stay up on the latest things. We do know of a few facilities Olympic level that offer something like that, so we've been in touch with them, and we're going to try to develop that sort of service to offer. But back on topic, I think in general that this heat acclimation has become more and more prevalent.
I had originally thought, I was this will just be something supplemental that we offer. I didn't think it was going to become such a focus, and I've just been incorporating it into my training so much over the past few months, and the differences that you see in just your ability to go longer in a workout and not feel as crappy at the end of it, it's kind of impressive. And this is really only one of the only things that I've added or changed to my regimen.
I think that's an important point with that too, is talking about like I briefly said before, and you kind of just touched on, is the cognitive end of things. is such an important part, especially, let alone in tactical, where you need to be on point 24/7. I mean, there's no you can't be like, oh, I'm kind of a little hot, or I'm getting a little winded. I mean, that's your life on the line, and as well as everyone else with you, your teammates, and even in endurance sports, being able to focus and maintain posture that much later into a race. Motorsport, the same thing. Yeah. Being able to stay focused on that last lap, when maybe some of the other drivers are you're starting to get a little fatigued, they're not hitting apexes as well as they should be, and you're on point, feeling good. And that's anecdotally a lot of the research that we've had feedback-wise from clients is, I feel better, I feel this, I feel that.
Yeah.
And then objectively, from heart rate measurements, I mean, similar conditions as previous year prior to the training that we've been doing. And one athlete was saying his heart rate dropped almost 30 beats per minute getting out of the car. I mean, that's dramatic change, and I think being able to make that big of a change in an already highly tuned athlete is awesome, and it's powerful stuff that could really help separate from other.
I think there are a lot of ancillary benefits too, besides just the hard physiological changes that go into it with increased stroke volume, increased plasma volume, lower heart rate. You look at the psychological benefit. Somebody that goes out into a real world environment and they're under heat stress, and they can say to themselves, "Hey, I've been here before.
Yeah,
I know this
that's
isn't
true.
going to
That's
kill
very,
me.
that's very
I know
true.
this isn't going to kill my performance. I'll just keep pushing through."
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're seeing some heart rate benefits just from that.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the anxiety
Absolutely.
going into that.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that anxiety aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, the unknown for so many athletes is always a scary thing. I've never done a race this long. I've never done a race. You show up race day, and all of a sudden it's 20 degrees warmer than it was supposed to be, and that can make people a little nervous. But I say, what? I've been training in 120 degree temperature. I'm okay. I'm ready for this.
It goes back to that concept of train in the worst situation, and then when you get a better situation, it seems like nothing.
Yeah, and again, across the board for especially endurance athletes, in the groups of people we have coming in here, I think across the board, that's a big motif that they kind of always try to hang
hard
on.
in training, easy in competition.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it goes into that whole concept of biohacking that's out there, because your body's natural inclination is to make you feel tired and make you feel fatigued when your core temperature starts to get too hot, because it's trying to shut you down before things get bad, before organs start to shut down and things go really awry. So if you're able to train your body and almost trick it into thinking, hey, I can go for so much longer before this is ever going to get to a situation where I'm in trouble, well, you're going to be able to go for a heck of a lot longer than you were previously.
And it comes down to a progression, just like anything with training. You start with small doses, at a certain frequency, and then you build up from there. So it's not like you come in and you're shocked from day one.
Yeah, no.
And that gives your body time to adapt and
Yeah.
make those changes, those permanent tissue changes that we're looking for.
All right, we're back.
And so I think also, an important point we can make is that it's, like you were saying, we can kind of adapt the situation to whatever. So if we need to throw a bike in there, we can throw a bike in there. We have a treadmill in there. We can get somebody with a weight vest in there. Can simulate driving environments with people in there. Helmet, whatever need be. Just trying to make it as functional as possible.
I know you and I have both been doing just some of our supplemental work in there, either
Absolutely.
warming
It's
up,
great for a
rolling.
warm-up.
I'll do just some core stuff on the side that doesn't really interrupt the flow of my normal workouts,
Mobility work.
but just is an added benefit without disrupting everything else that I have going on.
I think another interesting point, I don't know if, again, speak to anyone that's been in this situation, is we've tried to incorporate radiant heat as well as, just regular baseboard heat to heat the air, but also direct radiant heat coming off, similar to a sunshine. I don't know if anyone's trained in one or the other. We try to put them all into one here just to get a full effect of what it would be like, as close as possible as training in that sort of environment. So, again, and please comment below if you've trained, you know, in a facility that had one or the other or whatever.
I think what's cool is the aspect that, you know, like we just had a driver who did a race in Austin, right? And it was hot. It's always hot. And he can't train in that environment, right? Like, unless he's there. He's going to drive in it and he's going to be in it. And then having him here and using the room and, you know, with Brian and just being really dialed in on what he needs to get ready for that specific race in Austin, that he said he felt amazing, right? His driver change was how much quicker?
6 or 7 seconds.
Right, and that's from the single leg work we were doing, and that's from the heat stress that we
We also have to look at the fact that he's an athlete that lives in the Northeast.
Right.
So you have 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
You can't even get this kind
Yeah,
of
you show up for...
You can't even get this stimulus. So
No.
you're showing up to a race.
Yeah, maybe you do a couple practice laps, you know, your practice time the
You
day
get a couple
before,
days down
20
there.
minutes, and then, but you're not you're not driving in the car. Let's say the race is, you know, a 4-hour race. You're not getting 4 hours worth of training consistently in that temperature prior to going.
And if you are, your primary goal is to let me learn this track. Let me, you know, make sure the car is running the right way. It's not, let me make sure that I'm able to sweat appropriately and you know, not be totally gassed by
That's another good point too with heat acclimation training is you know, not only working on that end of it, but you can also start like you're saying, like start hacking like your hydration strategy and that sort of thing.
That's another way that we're going to we have been and going to be using this.
Like, oh, you know, my rate is XYZ, like we, you know, all that sort of thing, and then we can say, okay, this is how much loss, body fat loss. We can have people come right out, weigh, you know, a little in-body with them before, after, keep an eye on that sort of thing. So when they get to their race, they're ready. Say, okay, hey, my history has been XYZ in this temperature. It's 10 degrees less. Let me, you know, do a little quick math and adjust my volume intake of what I need to be doing here.
Yeah, kind of going to what you're speaking about, though, there isn't definitely an anabolic response to the heat stress. You know, you have heat shock proteins, which are very sensitive to thermal stress, cold as well as heat, but there's more of a response with heat, which tends to blunt the loss of muscle mass that you might get from extreme endurance training or any kind of training where you're calorie restricted.
Yeah, exactly. Another point that you brought up is the training in cold environments too. Again, something that we're looking into as well. If anyone has experience with that, you know, Northeast here we can go outside and train, you know, in the winter.
Right.
But I don't know if anyone's done any kind of like extended year-long kind of stuff. Like I know, you know, for people that do mountain climbing or you know, Arctic exploration or something like that, where they're going out like doing long distance.
Right. Because there is the concept of like pre-cooling and stuff before you exercise, which is almost the opposite of this, where you're trying to lower your core temperature before you start to give yourself that extra sealing. So, you know, maybe certain things work better in certain events. Maybe pre-cooling works better for this event versus, you know, this one, or for this person versus this. So, you know, across the board, we're trying to look at what's the best for all the athletes. But for right now, we're seeing great success with this.
Exactly. With the success we've had with this, as well as the objective data that we're collecting, it's going to be really cool to start making inferences on other athletes coming in. Say, hey, look, we've had athlete X who's a world-class cyclist doing XYZ times, and they're, you know, we have them in here, and this is what we're doing with them, and this is the numbers we're getting off their heart rate and stuff at that temperature, and this is, you know, muscle oxygen content that we're getting off them after training in that environment. And you can start to make inferences towards other athletes coming in, say, hey, you want to be able to perform well, this is what we found you need to be at, because this is what our athletes have been at and been successful. So it's cool to start making have that data pool of data that honestly I don't think exists anywhere.
I think that's a great point too, where we're looking at taking different technologies and using them in conjunction with each other.
Yeah.
You know, the Moxie and looking at the oxygen saturation in the heated environment, because, you know, pH and temperature will affect how well oxygen comes off of the hemoglobin, how well we're able to use it. So let's see what happens when somebody starts the heat acclimation training versus after 4 weeks. How do their Moxie numbers change?
Yeah.
How does that dissociation curve change?
Exactly. If we can start hacking that too, then you can start making even bigger changes on
add
areas.
A supplement to that, maybe that enhances it.
Yeah, and it's there's so many places to tinker that that people are leaving on the table. I think that's the real story of Four3, and what we're trying to do here is, again, find those avenues that you have not touched, that often, like we found with this, make huge gains and huge changes in your performance.
And ultimately, when you think you've hit that top mark, okay, let's find something else.
Yeah,
because there's always going to be something
There's always
else.
something, especially considering a lot of the testing and equipment that we like to think we have here is not available elsewhere, really.
Right.
And that's the whole idea, is we're trying to provide services to hit those areas where people like, oh, I think I've maxed out my potential. There's always room for improvement. That's kind of how we look at things.
They're going to spend hours talking about how they can find it.
We already do.
Yeah.
So anything else? Zach, do you have anything else?
I think you guys covered a lot of it, and I think what's important to take away is obviously heat stress and the training, but the fact that all of the tools we use in the works with that.
It's also 95 degrees out today too, so.
Yeah, it's only a few degrees.
So you can go heat train outside on the turf.
Come January,
as well.
Right, that's what Brian did this morning with someone. Just thank you for listening and watching.
Please comment.
Feedback.
Like again, and this is all a huge community. Like we said the first time around, we want to get everyone's feedback and input and experiences that they've had. It only helps all of us grow as a community in the endurance sports.
And if you have questions, you're wondering if this is appropriate for you, contact any of us.
Yeah, please.
And we can talk about it further. We'll throw you some of the research that we have. And
come in, check out the facility, and just get in there for a few minutes and just feel that. I mean, immediately when you're in there, you're like, oh, this is serious.
This is different.
Yeah, and then it's easy to get addicted. So.
And then, so during the podcast, you'll see a lot of footage, and that's some of our athletes training in, that environment with Brian. And, like I said, email us, Zach@team43.com. Sometimes it's up or down. We said both, but don't forget to follow us on social media.
Yes, please subscribe and comment. Please comment.
Twitter and Instagram @team43. Our website is team43.com, and Facebook is Four3 Performance Lab. Sorry, that one always throws me off. It's different than all the other ones. So please subscribe. Follow us on our personal accounts @LittleShriever.
Hit me up on BRampage43 at Instagram.
I guess it's Dr. Jackie PT on Instagram, Twitter, all
Dr.
the above.
William B.
Yep.
Dr. William B. on Instagram.
Just
I have other cool stuff on there too. Follow me. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we all have awesome things going on our personal accounts.
Brian's got a big tire he flipped. You gotta check that out.
He's gonna put it on a car.
You probably have seen it already because it went viral.
6,000 views on Instagram, and this guy wasn't using Instagram 5 months ago. He is
3.
2 weeks ago.
He's killing it.
Before the tire, he didn't know what it was.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you as usual.
Subscribe.
Later.
And
shout out to DJ Quads for taking us out.
Yeah. Video blogs soon.
Vlogs.
Tomorrow.
Ta valise est prête, rends les choses faciles et sèche-moi ces larmes de crocodile.